Hey guys, this is Ashley and Russ, and this is SheWolf Alchemy. And today we are asking the question: is chivalry and courtship dead?
Is it dead? If it is, who killed it? Um,
It wasn't the bear. It wasn't the bear.
it was not. I will say that. Um, no. So starting off, I'll share like how we kind of how I came to this topic just from a conversation of like bitter people online. And it was so funny because someone posted like women don't appreciate flowers and gifts and things anymore. So I'm like, being the guy that buys flowers and gifts gets you nowhere. That's what it was. And I was like, and I should have just ignored it. But every now and then,
You like to look in comments because you ain't learned
yeah,
the
every now
person
and
yet.
then, I just got to say something. So I was like, my man is the type of man that buys gifts and flowers, and like, he's my man. So obviously, it can get you somewhere. Oh my gosh, these men was upset. I probably would have done better, sir, if I came in with like, yeah, because that's some cornball ass shit. They probably would have loved it. But, I can get somebody somewhere just thinking I was just like spreading hope, like, keep trying, guys. Buy those flowers. And basically, by the end of it, there was a guy, the last comment he made was something like, it's funny how all the girls that appreciate that have boyfriends. And meanwhile, we're just out here single and unappreciated. And I was like, I don't understand. At some point, we too were single people.
Feels like this was a conversation he needs to have with his therapist, but continue.
Girl, it was deep. And eventually, like, another girl came on and was like, leave that happy ass girl and her happy ass relationship alone.
Yo, do you remember we had a guy who went under one of our videos and had the same thing. I can't remember what it was. We were having discussion about, oh, like exes that you were like that won't leave you alone and you have to like go off on. But like just leave me alone. Like I have to be that person that you get scared to reach out to. And this guy
Mm-hmm.
was going back and forth. And that's how we ended the conversation. I had to say to him, whoever she is, I'm wishing her well and I'm hoping that you are leaving her alone. Because the way you are responding, I just know that there is some woman that had to go off on you
Right.
for you to get the point, for you to be this triggered under this post.
Right. Just let it be. It was so. But it was such a bizarre conversation because I was like, what do y'all want? I'm trying to tell you that it can work out in your favor. You just have to give flowers to the right person. And you're still just like, no, you all are ungrateful. Okay. Okay. Y'all just wanted to have a pity party. My bad. I'm sorry that I even chimed in here. Um, and that's that. So yeah, it sparked up this whole conversation. I was telling my partner about it, and he was like, I don't even know why you be talking to people on the internet and like what your problem is. But just about the courtship process, chivalry, and all this other good stuff. So I was like, you know what, that would be a fun topic to explore. Um, but yeah, when I think about chivalry, I think about like pulling out chairs,
Yeah.
offering your coat, holding doors, things like that.
Mhm.
When I actually like looked up the like official like what is the definition of chivalry, it's a code of conduct for knights.
Oh,
Let's see, it encompasses bravery, courtesy, honor, and gallantry towards women. Um, it's meant to be like a moral code and also to like govern battle. Like it's not really,
like integrity and battle rules.
yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
And
so
like
integrity is definitely dead. I can answer that one.
that's
We're saying
real.
it's integrity. Yeah.
That's definitely real. So like that's the history of that's like the true for real definition. Obviously nowadays in like dating, we think of it still as like, yeah, opening doors, holding out chairs, things of that nature, like doing things to be basically kind and like nice to somebody that you like. I don't know why it's become such a challenging concept or like something that you have to earn. Like I ain't holding no door open unless she do this or like that. Like calm down, calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. As a podcast host, I don't want to say men with microphones are dangerous, but like because I have great men in my life. I know great men. And so I'm like, no, some of y'all are great. It's just something about y'all holding mics that make y'all go, and then so like a shooter comes and I gotta die for her. For her, why can't we both be on our arms?
Cause
Y'all want the rights over y'all body? Okay, okay, catch. Sir, this is something about men getting mics.
why do you feel so strongly? Why do you want like and that's like I think about the concept of like with the Titanic and how it was like women and children go first.
Yeah.
In 2024, I don't see it going down that smoothly. I see me like oh, so because I got a penis, I gotta die. Do y'all even know how to row a boat? What will you do without us? Like that's what I envision the conversation going.
How y'all gonna make it ashore without no men? Y'all not even good at directions. Like, what is we? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Babies. She only 5. She don't even know she like life yet. I love life.
I got something to live for too. And it's not that you don't. It's not that you don't. Which even then, I mean, I remember when I first heard that rule, like as a kid, like why it's so important to teach you about the Titanic in like 5th grade. But I remember hearing it then and being like, why was that a thing? And they were like, because women have babies.
Mhm.
And like even when I was having this conversation recently, it was like I was asked the same thing by the man I was speaking with, of like, and I'm like, well, if you think about it, one man can impregnate several women. Like however, we can only carry a baby like one a year. You're getting one kid out of us a year. So you need like more women than men. If it really is an issue of like if we lose all the women, you can't really repopulate the earth that fast. But you could lose a significant amount of men and definitely repopulate pretty quickly if you have enough women.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like there's so much of this episode I need to cut off because I'm listening and I'm like, what? But it's true. But it's true. Yeah.
It's numbers. It just kind of is what it is.
I have a homeboy who we had a similar conversation. It wasn't a Titanic, but it was something similar to that. Matter of fact, it came about from a conversation because, and I think me and you have had these convos before of like, he was like, okay, because I know you a real one because you a ride or die. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a whole mother. I ain't dying for nobody. If you have not came out of this womb, you you if there's a choice of death, I'm living. Why my child got to be an orphan? uh
Mm-hmm.
so, and he was like, well, okay, and then he went into this kind of like Titanic conversation, but we supposed to die and da 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 da. It's like, first of all, half of y'all would drop y'all kids off at the orphanage if the mother died, and y'all had to raise these children by yourself. So let's start there.
Let's begin there.
Let's be very honest. But I say that because this is somebody I really respect. Like, this is somebody who, for the most part, has really good opinions on things and really good outlooks. And so when you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, because it's kind of like the bear conversation where you want to say, oh, it's only a certain type of man gonna answer this way, and then you realize it's the ones that you're like, you're so smart and loving and kind. Why
Mm-hmm.
why do I still have to have this conversation? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in 2024, yeah, they're not. We gonna have to rock paper scissors it get on the boat
To get saved.
to get
Lord
saved.
have mercy. Lord have mercy. So chivalry, I guess, in dating, pulling outdoors. I guess it's like, do we really need these things? Do I really? I've always thought like, even when it comes to the men walking on the outside
Mhm.
of you, like when you're walking down the sidewalk. Obviously, if a car jumps the curb, we're probably both gonna get hit, no matter what side you're standing on. But it is
Thought,
the principle.
it's the thought that counts,
It's the
literally.
thought. It's the principle. And for me, I would much rather I can't be out here being seen with a man that don't know where to stand on the sidewalk. That's all I'm saying.
Look, look, yeah,
Somebody is gonna see that. Some older man is gonna see you on the wrong side of the sidewalk and be looking like that. What has
look.
come to our youth?
I went to Cheesecake Factory over. I love Cheesecake Factory. I was at Cheesecake Factory like 2 weekends ago, And like the way that they have it at Cumberland Mall is like you can valet your car. And so like I'm walking in and I'm like, you're just looking around and I'm seeing this girl struggle to get out the car. She had on heels, they had on these like 24 tires. And I'm watching this man just scroll on his phone as she struggled to get out like the valet end up opening her door. Like he did open her door, but like end up holding out his hand and helping this woman up. And I was just like,
See,
could not be me. The way I would go off, like why are you embarrassing me in front of our people? Why do you have me out here while all these folks are watching me struggle as you scroll through Instagram or TikTok, probably.
no home training at all.
I'm sure.
This is what happens without proper fathers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
are
that's
we
what
gonna
happens.
wrap this episode? I just feel like there's gonna be so many references nobody gets because I had to cut so much stuff out.
I'm just saying, no, but
Uh,
yeah, no, I'll stop at no home training. No home training.
none,
Those are
none.
like basic things that again you shouldn't have to like ask or fight for. So those are the things that make me be like, yeah, it's dead. Because why is that even happening? Why don't you know to like help somebody get out the car?
Well, but let me ask, when we're talking about chivalry, is anybody teaching it? Because beforehand, you used to get taught. I know for me, like when I was in elementary school, we had daddy daughter dances. We
Mm-hmm.
had like even if he had an ain't shit daddy, he still put on his little button up. Your mama made him buy you a corsage, got a pretty little sparkly dress, and he took you. And you kind of got this experience like, oh, open doors. Oh,
Yeah.
get the drinks. Oh, and then like I remember, at least for me, I had conversations about like, hey, this is how you're supposed to get treated. Like I remember one time when I was in high school, there was a boy I was problematic. I'm sorry. I'm just having flashbacks to things that I'm now as an adult recognizing. But there was a boy who like I was kind of like dating and we it was right before I was yeah, I was kind of like dating him, and I was asking my dad, "Can you drop me off over?" Because he invited me over to dinner, but he was on parole, so he was on probation, so we couldn't go out to dinner anymore. But he was like, "Hey, he worked this little job in at the drugstore, and he bought us some groceries, and he was gonna cook us dinner, and his mom was there, and his like sister and stuff was there, and so like everything was very kosher."
Mhm.
And my dad was like, "Why ain't he picking you up?" I said, "You don't have a car. He need to figure out a way to pick." Like, it took my mom to intervene to be like, "Baby, they kids. Like, I get it. She's not 25 and she's asking us to take her to some man's house. Like, they're kids. Let them, like, just let her go." But like the whole car ride, my dad lectured me. It was just like, and man not picking you up. And nowadays that doesn't even work because you can't let men know where you live too soon. It's dangerous. But he was giving me the rules that worked in the 1950s and shit. And he was like, and so are the kid are they getting that?
Are you saying that is making me think about like where I learned certain things, like being raised by a single woman? Well, I mean, on some, I think you learn about when you like watch how they're being treated, but then I feel like I got like lectures probably from like other family members that were like, "This is how this should look like." I definitely had an uncle who like was like, "Let me show you how to this how you woo a woman," and he had like flowers that he stuff like that. But then, but honestly, I also think there were lots of things in just like pop culture, like in
Yeah,
movies and stuff, that
yeah.
kind of like just displayed these like really basic kind of like rules of engagement. I think about, what it makes me think about is I think there was like a Jagged Edge music video
Oh gosh.
where
No, go
just
ahead.
stick with me, stick
I'm
with.
thinking.
But no, there was a Jagged Edge. I think it was Jagged Edge where it was like they have like, they would do their little interludes where they kind of talk in the middle of it. And they were like, if you open the door for a woman to get into the car, she's supposed to reach over to the other side and unlock your door. And if she does that, then
That's
she
a
is.
Bronx tale.
I'm telling you, it was a clip in a music video.
Okay, they got it from a Bronx tale.
Maybe so. But
Yeah.
that is a standard. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But like that's a standard thing.
Yeah.
And then I know even for myself, like as time has gone on and like doors are automatic, I'm like, is there something I'm supposed to be doing to like communicate to this man that like I like him? Because I don't really know. I don't know what the equivalent is nowadays. Like he opened my door.
His door don't even have handles. How am I supposed to do this? Yeah.
He
Yeah.
don't need me to unlock it. It's unlocked. But like how can I and like some women are extra and like reach over and like open it and like push it. Like I'm not doing all that. But like how do I remember having that moment with myself of like, how do I communicate to him that like I like him? And I appreciate him opening my door. I don't want him to think I forgot the rules. It's just that I don't know. I don't know how it works in this situation.
Yeah.
I was raised proper.
I have home training, I promise. You just got a toonie. You got a 2019. I don't know how to make this work.
Around.
Well, but going back to like, yeah, it's like the media influencing us because like, especially if you're a little black girl, like we also were like the generation that like we were getting some tips from Sister Soldier. Like, let's just be honest. Like we had some of those books that was like telling us like
Mhm.
yeah, some things, some things. I remember me and a girlfriend, I think me and you might have talked about this on the episode. I remember like I was like probably 13 or 14 and I was reading a book. All my friends were reading it and my cousins, like we were reading it. And one of my friends was just like, she got ahead of us. So she was like, y'all, did y'all know we have to shave our pubic hair? And we was like, what? Because this is when, first of all, the Brazilian was a new thing.
Mhm.
Some of y'all young listeners, y'all know about that. But before like 2005, nobody expected us to be bald down there. And
Mhm.
like I remember all of us like texting like, we gotta shave. Because you know, back then everybody swore we were waiting to prom night. And we're like, okay, we got 4 years to figure this out. How to maybe we can narrate. Maybe we can.
Yeah.
So you're
No.
right. I do think media influences certain things because I definitely remember that being a conversation with my girlfriends of like, okay, so apparently, before you have sex, you need to be bald, and
Kinda.
we need to
She
figure out how to do
wasn't
that
bald.
in a safe
She
way.
trimmed it. She
She
trimmed
trimmed
it.
it,
Yeah.
but eventually the conversation led to we supposed to not have no hair. Like I
Right.
specifically remember with a friend being like, "We're gonna put Nair down there," and me being like, I don't think that's smart. I feel like that can lead to something that you didn't have to talk to your mom about. I don't
It literally burns the hair off. I don't. It's not the best place to put it, but people be out here, you know. Yeah. So right, stuff like that from reading books and all these watching different movies to teach you like this is who's supposed to the man is supposed to pay for the date and it just comes up as a conversation between two characters in a movie and you're like okay that's what's supposed to happen.
or I mean the opposite of like and she or yeah, the opposite. I'm trying to think what show I was gonna say girlfriends, but I don't think it was girlfriends, but I specifically remember being like, "Oh, you a bum bitch if you give men money," because that had never been something I seen. That has never been something I saw in life. The women in my family, that was not a thing. But I remember
Hmm.
watching something and they pointed out like that's bum bitch behavior. And I was like, oh, that's bum bitch behavior.
I,
Oh,
I will say yeah I'm trying to think of what show or movie did reference I think it was Waiting to Exhale
mhm,
and it referenced like trying to like make a man like build a man up
mhm.
because yes because she was dating and Waiting to Exhale she was with a guy who like worked on cars or something like that and he didn't have as much money as she did and she like fixed his teeth she got him new clothes she like did all this stuff to try to build herself this so-called good man and I think he ended up cheating and being trifling in the end it was like and the lesson was like and that's why but there were multiple men in there but he was one that the
Every
lesson was
time,
like
every time people reference Waiting to Exhale, I realize maybe I didn't watch the movie because I do not recall that at all. I do not recall. And this isn't the first time I've had a Waiting to Exhale conversation where I'm just like, girl, I don't know. The car blew up and I was like, yes, yes, that's my character. And I think I just forgot everything else.
There were a few different because I read the book and watched the movie.
Okay.
So yeah, there were a few different examples of men and women relations in
Yeah.
there for you to like take a little nugget
Yeah.
from.
Well, but also keeping that in mind, talk about media and what we grow up in. I think that is a big part of like what makes a difference because our parents grew up with music that was like, I love you, I love you. I would do everything for you because you're my baby, you're my honey, let's get married. And like we grew up on like, I was listening to it earlier today, Trina. I want my ass smack, legs wide. Like I was listening to that earlier, like, oh, these are songs from my childhood. Uh,
Ah,
and so
uh-huh.
if we are getting cues from our media, yeah, there's no wonder chivalry seems dead when we're out here dating because I mean, at this age, I feel like there's no excuse. Both of us are in our 30s. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like at that point, you should have gotten a clue. Like, you
Mm.
should have gotten a clue. Um,
But to speak to that for younger people, you know, they have real ass bitch give a fuck about it. They're getting a totally different wave. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I guess that does make sense because we definitely grew up in the era of like, I want a man with money.
Mhm.
And we grew up in the era of I have multiple hoes in various area codes. And this is what I do with all of them.
Yeah, you're really right. I'm really thinking about like
There-
trends that have changed over time because I'm thinking about like I know for a fact when I was younger, if you go back and watch any like 90s sitcom type thing, there's always reference to like, ooh, I love a man in uniform. And like that's what you were supposed to have, a man in a uniform. He could have been a UPS man, he could have been a water delivery man, it didn't matter. As long as that man had a uniform and he was in the union and
I
he
mean, with a good government job, UPS, he got a
Mhm.
good pension.
And now there's a shift where people don't value those types of jobs in the same way. Not saying that they shouldn't, because as you just stated, plenty of those jobs are like unionized, they get paid good money and all this stuff. But at some point it shifted to where people believe, you know, that a man with a white collar job is better.
And here's the thing, can I just briefly touch on that? I know we're talking about man, but like I have recently shifted to working for myself
Mhm.
and like being my own boss. And I wish I could go and make the money I want to make with someone else being my boss because my birthday, I gotta take off 4 days and nobody's paying me for that.
Mhm.
Nobody's paid me for that. So you know what that means? That means tomorrow I'm going extra hard. Last Sunday, I went extra hard. Monday, I went extra hard to make up for those times. And I do think we definitely have in the early, you know, we grew up with girl boss and you want to be a boss. You know,
Mhm.
I don't, I got employees. I ain't got colleagues and workers. You know, we grew up in that. And so we're all like, yeah, because that's real success. That's what you want. That's what you're supposed to be going for. That shit is hard.
Mhm. It is.
They get us in our taxes.
Mhm.
All that money we flaunt through the earlier part of the year, we have to pay back to the government later. Like, yeah, it definitely was a certain mindset I think that was promoted, and it is not all it's cracked up to be. I very much would like a union against myself, in the way I hand out my own benefits.
Like for someone else to pay my just like help me pay this
You want to pay
insurance.
half my insurance? Okay.
Great.
Okay. I don't know why I was complaining before. Y'all was taking that
Want to
little
match my retirement?
178 out my check. Take it. Take it and give me insurance. Give me back
Want to
Kaiser,
match my
please.
retirement? I love that.
Right now, me and my retirement is really every time my father is an accountant, he's a pastor, but also an accountant. And anytime either one of them asks me about my retirement, because you
Mhm.
know, I'm like, hey, I'm about to go work for myself. They're all like, yay. So we have questions. And
Mm.
like, and what about retirement? I was like, I really feel like that's future Russ's problem. And I have faith in her. That's my answer right now. But you know what?
Mhm.
That guy at UPS and FedEx, they know what's happening with their retirement.
Mhm.
They know
Mhm.
exactly what there's a password and a little username, and they can
Mhm.
pull up exactly what their retirement is going to look like at 65.
Yeah. So that's something that needs to come back. If anything, but yes, some over time has shifted to where people don't value that anymore. It doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah.
but I feel like again, pop culture has something to do with that as well.
Yeah. I definitely think in the 90s we had more of a family community thing that was being pushed. You look back at shows like even some of the early 2000 shows, One on One,
Mhm.
Cousin Skeeter. I still think that was late 90s. But you know, you look back on those type of shows, and yeah, you're right. It pushed community, it pushed, regular jobs, it pushed, stuff like that. And then I think after what, like 2010, 2008, like we went through a period where it was like, let me flex. We went through the flexing period.
Mhm.
And a part of the flexing period was I don't need love. Look how strong I am because I don't need love. I ain't no
Mm.
sucker. Went indoors like a sucker.
Not a sucker. But one thing I mentioned in terms of like again courtship, well leaning into the courtship because we mentioned that as well, like chivalry and courtship, is like going Dutch. I don't think there's anything wrong inherently with going Dutch. I will say that. And whenever I see men post things online, like, do women even pay for dinner? And there's always girls that are like, have you ever been with a woman that actually liked you? Because most of us don't mind every now and then, every now and then,
Okay. Okay. Sprinkle that in.
every now and then, paying for a dinner. But I remember having in my dating days explain to someone that like if I don't let's say you man A and man B, right? And I don't know either one of y'all more or less than the other.
Mhm.
I'm not any more or less attracted to one of you than the other, and you both want to take me out. You would like to go Dutch. He's gonna pay for everything. Who do you think I'm gonna go out with? I'm more likely to go out with the person who makes it easier for me, meaning the person that's gonna pay for it, or the person that's gonna. I mean, if we go back to like, yeah, if I'm okay with you having my address, picking me up, the person that's gonna do all those things as opposed to the person that's like, nope, you have to meet me halfway. You need to do this, do that, and blah 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 blah. And all you're bringing is company. I don't even know you well enough to know if I like your company. So you can keep up with that Dutch argument, but it may not get you.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not
I'm
worth it.
not a fan of going Dutch, but I'm definitely, if I'm dating, I've definitely dated people and just like, yo, let me get the check. Like I've been eating up all your food all week. There might be a slight dent in the right side of your car. I did not mention that. Let me pay for the Applebee's. I definitely.
I like
Uh,
to slide it in like a treat. Like, they didn't expect it. That's like after I see the tab. I'm like, oh, I can pay that. Yeah, I got this move.
but also, again, I think it also goes back to like, yeah, but I think also, are you dating women that also like you? Because I do think that when you're actually dating seriously,
hmm
or that's not really much of an argument. I don't think any of the girls in my circle have ever been in a relationship and had an issue with being like, yeah, I'll go and get the food. I'll pay for it. It's not, let me get the Uber Eats. Not a
hmm
problem whatsoever. But like you said, but you are competing out here with some men, especially in your first date. I don't really know y'all who are going to. And if you're mad about that, that's fine. You're allowed to be mad about that. Um, and there's a girl somewhere on TikTok who will tell you she's going to pay for it. And I really suggest y'all link up. I really
hmm
suggest you to link up. But I think also with the rules of courtship, as we were talking about that, I think it's so diverse now. Like we
hmm
have all these different names for different types of relationship that people are out here having. And I think that also makes it harder and more difficult when you're out here dating or trying to explore and know people. I know I'm in Atlanta, and the last time like I got on apps and stuff, the amount of men who did not say they were poly and they will tell me, like, after we exchange numbers, or after the first date, or after whatever, whatever. And they're just like, I mean, but it's Atlanta. And I'm just like, I don't know why you keep saying that. Like, that is supposed to make me know what I'm walking into. But now there's all these different ways of dating. And
hmm
I know that now there are women who are putting out there like, yeah, no, let's just do coffee dates. Because I know when I was growing, and when I was like a teen, like, no, if you're taking me on a date, we're going to the movies. Like, don't tell me to go meet for when we were teens, but like, there was kind of like a hierarchy of dates.
hmm
And it was kind
hmm
of like, oh girl, he asked me to meet him at the roller rink. We gonna hold hands during the couple skate. And it was just like, okay, that's nothing. That's okay, that's lightweight. But it was like, no, he actually really likes you because he gonna take you to Papa John's. Like it was a whole different type of thing. And I think now because there's so many different ways to date now. People are more open to being like, hey, especially in the beginning parts, we don't really know each other. So let's not put too much effort until I know if I like you. Let's not put too much time. Let's not put too much money. And people are perfectly okay with it. People are perfectly
Mhm.
okay going on hike dates. People are
Mhm.
perfectly okay meeting up and being like, yeah, let's get coffee or let's get ice cream. And it's not a big deal.
I'm a fan of the low investment first date. Like I've never shunned that because at the end of because we've all been like felt I think we've all had the experience of feeling trapped on a date. And it's just like, man, this is unpleasant. I am not having a great time.
Mm.
And we got to get through dinner or I'm just going to have to be rude and like cut this short, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of like, if I don't really know you like that, I'm cool with coffee. I'm cool with ice cream. I'm cool with a quick lunch,
Mhm.
something where I know I have to like I got to get back to work,
Yeah.
where I have an excuse to leave. But if it goes well,
Mhm.
I've had coffee dates turn into breakfast dates or lunch dates or, you know, extend throughout the entire day because we were just having such a good time.
Yeah.
But if not, especially if you don't really know what you're getting yourself into and you do run across one of those Dutch types, it's coffee, right? It's like $5.
Mhm.
Coffee, and you'd be like, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
And you can leave. Your investment is like $8 in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I can handle that. I can't give up hours though.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you, do you believe that chivalry is only for like serious investment? Or are we saying like, no, is it just it should be a part of how you present yourself from day one?
I think it should be a part of how you present because again, when I think of chivalry, I think of it just like being kind and like doing nice things for someone who you have an interest in. I think when we specifically use a term like courtship though, like that is for seriousness.
Yeah.
Like that's when you're like stating your intentions. It's not like you're not just dating, you're not just like figuring out what's happening. Like you're approaching this person like, "Hey, I'm in this to see if we're going to get to a relationship."
Yeah. I can agree with that.
And it has a lot more intentionality behind it. But when I think of chivalry, I feel like it's just being nice. Like you're not gonna get, I don't know. I guess in my mind, you're not gonna get very far if you're being a jerk. And because that's that to me, that's what feels like the opposite of it. I know there's people who like wouldn't agree with that. But that's my thought on it. It's like you're either I'm not trying to argue with you about open doors. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like basic stuff. And if that's reserved, like if that's reserved where it's like I don't open doors unless you're actually my girlfriend, I don't even want to date you. Like that's crazy.
The way I am like being a boy mom is gonna be great for you. Let me throw that on you first. But the way one of my fears about being a boy mom is having that little man embarrass me, like I did not raise him right. Because yeah, there's definitely some man like, I know your mama.
Hmm.
Miss Patty May, she did the best of her abilities. Why you out here embarrassing her like that? Got women cursing your mama's name like she ain't tell you how to be a young gentleman. You out here
Hmm.
telling women I don't open doors unless you my girl.
Hmm.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Um, yeah, I agree that like because to me also like I'm even talking about as a woman, if I don't know, and I know chivalry is always given towards men, but like unless you put me in an uncomfortable position, I'm going to treat you with kindness and basic human like decency.
Hmm.
Like if we're on a date and you aren't horrible, I'm not gonna be texting the whole time. I'm not gonna be looking at other guys. I'm not gonna be yawning as you talk. I'm not gonna like just basic decency type stuff. So it's like weird to me that yeah, sometimes you do hear these arguments of like, until I know what you bring to the table, why I gotta be nice? You don't, and we don't have to interact.
You don't have to. Right. That's common humanness. I mean, and we've probably talked on this before. I know it became a big deal for me in the dating process of just like wanting to be like a good, nice person. Not necessarily someone who was like only going to be nice to me under certain circumstances, but just like an all around, this is how you treat everybody, nice person.
It's so funny that you bring this up. Me and my best friend, I'm seeing her this weekend too, but she was just here. She just left this morning. And me and her were having this conversation. We're out on the patio sipping wine. We were talking last night, and we just had this conversation about like how like some of the worst things that we hate to see. And one of my things I brought up, like one of the things I hate to see is women who are with men who clearly don't like them. Like everybody but them seems to know that this man does not
Mm.
like you. He does not like you as a creature of God, let alone like you talking about love. And we are all like, girl,
Mm.
I don't think that man likes you as a human being. Like I
Mhm.
really don't think so. And it's one of the things I hate because I feel like basic kindness should be the bare minimum of dating somebody.
Mhm. Mhm.
It should not even have to be stated. I feel like it's just supposed to be like, yeah, no, that's you're dating. That should be a part of that thing. And
Mhm.
I absolutely hate seeing where you can tell she's just like so in love and so happy and so cheerful. And you're like, that man does not like you.
Mhm. Mhm.
He you look at him with heart eyes and he deep sighs every time he hears you speak.
That's terrible. But you know, and like you brought up a point earlier about there's so many different kinds of like dating, I guess, happening. Like you have your situationships, which
Mm,
unfortunately that's become the fact that it has a name is unfortunate
mhm.
that it became so prevalent.
Yeah.
You have that. You have like your freestyle dating. You have your blah blah. But yeah, I definitely think courtship is reserved for like when you're serious, and there's certain things that need to be like incorporated into that. So, for example, if you're being serious about someone and you want to be a part of your life, it's introducing them to people in
Oh
your
my
life.
fucking gosh. Yo, yo, yo. I don't know why y'all drilled this thing in. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a part of it, right? Because
People.
you're
Oh my
you're
gosh. For some
saying
people.
if you're being intentional with somebody, your intent at some point is for them to be a part of your life. So you would want to see how they fit in with your life.
Mm. Okay.
I'm picking at you, but no, I recently watched, oh God, I watched The Ultimatum South Africa. Woo, woo, woo. I'm here for the mess. It's my guilty pleasure. But there was a couple on there. They were a full on whole ass couple for years, and that man had never introduced that woman to his family. Was just like no. And then during his trial marriage, which lasts like 3 weeks, he introduced the girl to like his cousins, and that would have been it for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't meet your family, but this chick you was talking to for 3 weeks, she gets to meet your family. But also, like, I feel like that's yeah, again, being more in like that should have let her know his intentions. Like,
Yeah.
if he doesn't want to introduce you to his family, he's probably not that serious about wanting to like marry you, which is the point of the show.
So I'm going to be very, very clear. I'm very, very aware that this is a double standard. I do not care anything about the fairness of it. I do agree. If a man will not introduce you to his people, whether it be his friends or whatever, I do think that is like he's not serious about you. I think if Russ does it, it's fine. She has a reason. She has her own traumas, and that you should leave her alone. She is working on it, maybe. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that is definitely kind of like one of those like, your mama's your next door neighbor. Why haven't I met her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now, some people are weird.
Mhm.
And if they jump and introduce you to their family a little bit too soon, I think you should be concerned about that. That does not necessarily mean that man love you and want to be with you. Some people are just odd like that.
Also, some people lie for their friends and their family. Like, so don't think that it's automatically a green sign. Like,
It's, it's
green flag. It means, I think it helps to know, but like also don't.
yeah, don't be fooled now. No, that I do need to put that out there.
Mhm.
That is a thing. But yes, if someone is being intentional, that should be incorporated. Even stuff like, yeah, like going to I always tell people like go to their place, cut their lights on, like make sure things are kosher over there. If you're because I made the mistake of dating someone who I had not been to his place and I could not understand what the big deal was.
I remember this. Yes. I
Ugh.
remember having whole conversations with you about this.
I wish I don't know what I stood to learn from that experience and why that was an experience that let me know like I must be depressed because I don't know what the fuck or why I was dating that man. There were so many things wrong with that.
Okay, I know y'all hate when I get into astrology, but like, and I don't remember that man's sign, but I'm convinced every woman has at least one air sign man that is like, that was my depression era. Like, that's the only way I can explain that. It's like, that was my, I have no other explanation for you
No.
other than I was in a dark place. And
Hey,
I was like, maybe, maybe if I did liven up the plot, maybe,
yeah.
maybe I just gotta do something.
I mean, I will say ending that led to the soul search that made me be like, you know what? I need to change my entire life.
Same, same. It was also an air sign man that I had to walk away from. And I was like, I need to go celibate and be alone and do some inner healing because
Mhm.
what was we doing? What was we doing over there?
What was we doing? But yeah, I had never and it was such a thing and I couldn't understand why. And his reason once it became a thing and I finally did see it was just I guess like embarrassment that like, well, you have a house and like it's really nice and I just kind of have this apartment with like couches and a TV. Okay, what is the big deal? But the way it played out was just it was dramatic for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember. I recall. I recall. I remember us having whole conversations. Like maybe there's another woman. Maybe he got a whole girlfriend, a living girlfriend. She pregnant. She at the house. We gotta figure it out. We gotta get in that house. We gotta get in that house. And I think you got in his house and like we
And
like watching TV or something. You're just
he
like,
was so pissed off.
yeah,
It was stupid. Oh, it was so dumb when I think about it now. Just like I really should have just been like, no, I'm not going to do this. But it was so important for me to see that man's apartment.
yeah.
He, there were perks, but they were not worth the
But
bullshit.
we both had great supplies of happiness during that
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, lots was happening, but yeah, not worth the job. But yeah, maybe that's what it was meant to lead to some healing, honey. Because that was just the last piece of me that needed to be ripped apart, I guess, before I could be like, okay, let's stop. Let's not date. Because what the fuck? But anyway, so yeah, seeing how your lifestyles fit together, if you fit in with their life, how they fit in with your life, when it is actual intentional courtship, I'm
Yeah.
trying to actively pursue you because I have goals in this.
Yeah, I think if we're definitely talking about courtship, the intentionality, not just I mean, you can come along if you want. Oh yeah, I'm about to go do this thing. It's along the way. You wanna I was back at house, so I don't know. I'll see if you want to do something. And don't get me wrong, I think it's great when I'm doing this thing. I know you like this thing. I'm thinking about you. Hey, whatever. But
Mhm.
there needs to be some intentionality there. Recognizing of like, hey, to me, this is huge with dating. Do you think of me when I'm not there?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
am I a thing that like it object permanence? Like,
Mhm.
am I only existing when you can physically see me? Or like there needs to be some intentionality behind your actions of like, no, because I think of you, because I care about you. So I intentionally make plans for us. I intentionally do these things because of how I feel about you. And I want you to know that. And so there's thoughts going behind my actions. I'm not just wildly doing all the time.
Mhm.
And I think that's where some of the frustrations happen in some of these dating for both men and women when it feels like none of this feels intentional. It just feels like you get ideas in your head and I just happen to be the closest source to you.
Mhm.
And that doesn't feel good after a while. Oh, we're
Yeah.
new dating? Cool, that's fine. But now we 6 months into this and I am not sure. Again, it's like you a toddler, like object permanence. Like, do I exist beyond when you can see me physically?
Mhm. No, when you were saying that, that's exactly what was going through my mind. Was like planning things, planning things lets me know like you were thinking about me and you planned the whole thing. Definitely. So, but also in planning that, it's incorporating someone's likes and dislikes and like things like that, and like actually trying to set up situations for y'all to continue to get to know each other and see how you get along. Like it's cool to go see like I think about that like with movie dates. Like it's cool to go to the movies, but you're just sitting in the dark looking at a movie. It's not really a great date place unless you like been rocking with someone long enough that it's like, hey, we both like this thing.
Yeah.
Then you go have like a discussion afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not big on movie dates either. That's for like we already know each other and we actually
Mhm.
really want to see this movie. And usually for me, I'm not a big movie person. So it's like, you really want to see this. And because I care about you, I'm going to support you in this thing and I'm going to try my hardest to pay attention. Um, but yeah, again, going back to that like intentionality, that I'm even thinking like intentional with us dating. What do you want? What are your what are your intentions of this? I know for some people they're perfectly okay doing that. Let it flow. I'm not a let it flow person. What are we doing? Where are we going? I in my 20s, let it flow was perfectly fine. It was perfectly cool. I was but a child. But I think after a certain age, and for some people it's perfectly fine. I know for me though, it became I have enough friends. I have enough male
Mhm.
friends. And
Mhm.
so I don't want to form bonds, close emotional bonds, and then it feels anxious for me because I don't know what to expect for you. I don't know the rules. I don't know what you're doing. Am I doing too much? Are you doing too little? Like I want it to
Ooh.
be very clear what we're doing here.
Mhm.
Because that's
That's it.
also a part that emotional safety. Like, how can I feel safe if I don't know what the goal here is?
Absolutely. Mm. Just being reminded of that feeling of like, am I? I don't know if am I calling too much? Are you okay with this? Are we doing? Is what is the thing? Like, yes, being clear cut and dry on that. And like you know, again, going back to different types of relationships, like we're not talking about when if you in a situationship, y'all go with the flow.
Hmm.
If you're just dating for fun, by all means. But if you know that you want something more, like you want this to lead to a committed monogamous relationship, you want that committed relationship to lead to a marriage, you want like that's what you're actively seeking, you need to be, for men and women,
Hmm.
you need to be upfront and intentional about that. For men, you need to be letting that woman know, I'm pursuing you because I hope that it leads to ABCD. If you know that you want a relationship to form and actually lead somewhere, like you need to be stating that on the front end. And I think people are scared too because it's like, oh man, if I tell you this is what I'm trying to do and that ain't what you're trying to do right now today, you might not want to continue doing this thing with me. But like that's the type of level of like clarity I feel like you need.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, after having my period of not dating and like celibacy, it was like when I re-entered, I was like, I want to be clear. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to end up in a situationship for a year again. I
Yeah.
don't want to flim flam date multiple people. And, you know, that stuff, it had its place, it had its time. If that's where you are, by all means. But if you know you're out of that phase, like, I was like, you know what? If I tell somebody this is what I want and they tell me that's not what they want, I don't care how cute they are. I don't care how much I like them. I don't care.
Yeah.
I am going to cut it off.
Yeah.
And that's like a hard boundary
Yeah.
to make at times because again, um, it's like I always tell people when they're like, well, you can't help who you love. I'm like, you can help who you get to know.
Yeah.
It's certain people you didn't even have to interact with. When you was on the first phone call and they was like, yep, I got 3 kids and 3 baby mamas and a criminal record. And you could have been like, okay, and you could have ended that call, but you kept going. You got yourself attached. You went on a couple days. You had sex. Now look at you in your feelings.
I have
Talk about you
like
can't help who you love.
I have like two different comments on that. But yeah, because no, like I really no, because I there's somebody in my life who does that a lot, who is just like, because we both have like running jokes with each other of like, she's always like, you gonna end up with somebody problematic. And I was like, I mean, you know, my childhood trauma probably. And my running joke with her, though, was like, so you be falling in love in 5 days and stretching this thing out with somebody who has made it clear, I am about to ruin your life. And their whole thing was, I can't help who I fall in love with. And I'm like, you can, because they be telling you day one, like, yeah, you know, my last little situation. It's like, no, my last little situation, me and Shy was working steady for like 4 years or whatever. But I was just I told her we gotta be friends first. She in. And I was like, that like you saying you started a conversation. Well, I'm looking for a partner for life. And that was his response. That wasn't enough to run. So that yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like you can't maybe you can't help who you fall in love with. And there's definitely liars. Men,
Yeah.
women, dogs. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely liars out here and who
Mhm.
come and they pretend and they become they just mirror you. They
Mhm.
just mirror you and make you feel like this is my soulmate. No, that's your copycat. They're just doing what they need to do for however long they need to do it.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that does not happen, but it's definitely sometimes where I do think we let things linger. And I will say, even myself, I know when I had a situation where I came out of celibacy and it was somebody from my past who I've always been cool with, but have always definitely been like, we can be together, but this is fun. But this is fun.
Mhm.
And I had a moment of just being like, I'm so bored. Let me just step back to fun. I know them. I always have fun with them. There's no chance of me ever fall in love with them. It's cool. This is safe. When I tell you the universe blocked it in every way, I had to walk away from this man for his own good because his whole life was being ruined. I was having dreams telling me, leave this man alone. Do not,
Mhm.
multiple dreams telling me all the time, do not entertain this man. And I'd be like, wake up and be like, what you doing tonight? And then just tragedy of biblical proportions
Yeah.
bestowed this man. And I was just like, and it sounds funny, but I literally had a conversation with him and I was like, the universe does not want us to be together. And for your own good, for
Mhm.
whatever reason, they're protecting me. Shit ain't happening to me, but it's happening to you. And I just feel like there's a coincidence that every time I'm like, hey, I miss you. Let's go get dinner. And then like a tornado hits your house, but it didn't touch nobody else's. Like I
Mhm.
just feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel so bad for that man.
One of us is not learning our lesson and it's gonna ruin your life.
And it's gonna ruin your life. And so finally I was just like, you know what?
Maybe it's not meant to be. It's not at
I
all.
don't want it. I don't know what happened, but there are like we are preventing World War III. If you
Okay,
just
good.
leave this man alone,
Do it.
prevent World War III.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Leave that man alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I am. I am. I have.
That's too funny.
I have. All right, let me get back to it. But yeah, speaking of boundaries, I also think that is a big part of like courtship. Like, I don't think you can court somebody without like boundaries. I think anything else is the wild, wild west out here. I don't believe there can be emotional safety without boundaries. And
Mhm.
boundaries doesn't always have to be like, because I think sometimes we think boundaries and people are like, don't go through my phone. Okay. But like, I think sometimes that is like also boundaries can simply be like boundaries of what our relationship looks like.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that even goes back to, again, that being clear about certain
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think sometimes we don't like talking about boundaries. And there's just this idea of like, I mean, that's common sense. And it's like, you
No.
you know how
No.
quickly some people will pull out, we ain't even ever talk about that.
Yes.
How was I supposed to know I wasn't supposed to touch that woman? You ain't never said Sally specifically. Like
Mhm.
you and so yeah, no. Having the communication and communicating what our boundaries are gonna be.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep, and being specific. So are we exclusive? And by being exclusive, I mean that I'm not going to entertain anyone else and you are not going to entertain. And when I say entertain, I mean emotionally, physically. like, like having those very clear cut. And again, like you said, I think people get scared to have those conversations because they don't want to hear something
Mhm.
that is gonna turn them off or give them a reason why they probably should end this. Um, but also, yeah, that what I thought you knew, you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
Look,
Gonna be unhappy. I know. Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I appreciated. When I first met my partner, that man was intentional. Let me
mhm,
know on our first date was it was a conversation about this is what I want because I was in that stage. I want to be married. I want to have kids. That's what I want.
mhm,
And he was like, "Yeah, bet me too." Okay, all right.
mm.
So are you? Yeah. He was like, "Hell yeah, I hate serial dating. I don't want to do this shit. It is a terrible investment for a man." That's what he always says. It's like,
You know what though? That is something that like always boggles my mind, especially men who don't have money that want a serial date. I'm just like, how are y'all doing it? How
"Oh,
it
we
just
can't
feels
afford that."
expensive and a headache.
It can be, yeah. I don't yeah, I agree with you. But then that's how they turn into you come out of house type men.
Yeah.
Netflix and chill type men. They don't want nothing from you. They're not investing. But yeah, if you're someone who actually wants to be intentional and you're actually investing in people, it can get pricey if you're trying to serial date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what I think of when I think about chivalry investment. I love that
Mm-hmm.
you use that investment
Mm-hmm.
because if
Mm-hmm.
I'm investing in your safety. So I am going to call and ask, like, hey, I stayed up late. Did you make it home? Okay. I just want to make sure you made it in the house. Okay, cool. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even talking about the old things of like laying down your jacket over a puddle, but it is, okay, how do I know you are invested in this?
Absolutely. Side note on the laying a jacket over a puddle. I've always thought that was so silly and never made sense because now your jacket's just wet and I probably could have walked around the puddle. But
That has always been my mindset around it. Like, if it's a puddle, that means I can walk around it.
I've
If
never
it's just, if it's big, it's so big that I can't walk around it, then your jacket's not gonna do anything. So like,
now you gotta carry this wet jacket. Like I just need to see it in action to really like understand who came up with this. But I feel like that's always been a silly rule. But it's a romantic gesture, you know.
I like my romantic gestures to have actual. I really hate pointless gestures.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really hate pointless gestures. Things like that. I'm trying to think of another one. I know I've had them because the reason I have this thought because I've experienced them where it's like you 2 points for something I didn't even want in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, but I know I've had them. I know I've had them.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I agree, point gesture. But yes, investment. Investment is key. And yeah, you can't just be investing in like everybody. It's not a wise investment. So yeah, if you know that you actually want something that's leading somewhere, that's exactly why you have to be intentional. Set those boundaries and like just be real up front. So that you can invest your time in that one specific thing.
Mhm.
And then yeah, investment does come with risk. It doesn't always mean that you're gonna get, the end result. And the same, like I bring up the people I was talking about at the beginning who are mad are like, oh, you buy women flowers and they don't even give you six. Like I don't know what they're upset about. But something my partner was saying was like, well, those are people who are pretending to be nice. Like that's why they're mad. Because they were putting on an act hoping it would get them somewhere and then it didn't and they're mad. But like if it was just like what you do
Mhm.
or like how you treat someone that you are trying to be invested in, it wouldn't like
Yeah.
you would understand that investment comes with a certain amount of risk,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes you put your money into something and it doesn't work out. And that's okay.
I 1,000% agree. Like, in fact, I love that you brought that up. I feel like we need to have a whole episode on people who, um, I'm a nice guy. I'm such a nice girl. And it's like, but if your niceness is to get something, are you really that nice?
You're not that nice. You're not.
Are you really that nice? And I think it's no longer chivalrous if it's supposed to be in exchange for my body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're only doing the chivalrous things because you think that's going to guarantee you access to me, it's no longer considered chivalrous. Right? That's
Agreed.
considered a trick. And
Agreed.
like, I don't,
Yeah. Yeah. Cause even like we were saying before, chivalry includes like integrity. And
yeah,
integrity is like, I think being consistent with your actions as well. Like how you act here is how you act there. So yeah, if you flip flop based on the circumstances or when you realize that you're not getting sex, if that's your goal
Mhm.
at the end of the day, because that's what was confusing me about it. I was like, what exactly do y'all want for these flowers? Like, and make it make sense. What is it you're not getting? Because
Did she
these
not
flowers,
say thank you? Did she not call you back? Like, what's
what?
happening?
Right. So,
I mean, but that's a lot of times how I feel for a lot of the what do you bring to the table conversations.
Mhm.
I think there are some that are more valid of like, hey, this is starting to drain me and exhaust me. And now I gotta wonder what are you bringing to the table?
Mhm.
Male or female, I think that's a very valid point. But a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it is, I got money. I am good at sex. What are you bringing? And it's like, I listen to you. I take on all your emotional baggage. No one else in your life does. I make
Mhm.
your life easier. And that's not enough. What else? It's like,
I mhm. I
okay.
think people who engage in those conversations don't value people in general. Like, she is the
Or they're
type of person.
young.
They're just young and they don't know how to talk. But it's like when you value what a good person can bring in your life or what a person who actually is a good match for you or whatever those case may be, like, don't ask stupidness like that. You might explore it on your own.
Mhm.
You know, this is why we mean like court them, date them, spend time with them, and then you will see the value that they bring to their life. But to want that on day one, as you sit across from me, we just met, and I need to know right now, what do you have that I don't have?
Yeah.
Many things.
Mhm.
Anyway.
I don't think that I don't think 21 questions is a good way to know a person. You have to experience people to know them. I think you know, I think it's fun and cute when you're in high school, but it's not
Mhm.
actually a good way. People, again, that mirroring thing, people will tailor their questions to whatever. I had this dude who was like, oh, he was one of my best friends in high school.
Mhm.
And I remember him telling me, like, yeah, he was talking to me about this girl. And he was like, yeah, and I'm like, she a girl. So I knew when I asked her favorite music and we were talking about that, she was going to say some 90s stuff. So I was like, yeah, I love Monica and Maya. And she was like, what? Monica and Maya. And he was like, yeah, I don't really be into that rap stuff. I,
Uh,
I love the blah 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 because people know, it's one thing to ask people, and don't get me wrong, of course, ask questions. I'm such a big fan of asking enough questions. I'm I'm a big believer. If you if you let a man talk long enough, he gonna tell himself. So
mhm.
ask your
Mhm.
questions. But like you have to really experience people to know. That's fun and cute when y'all just texting, you're talking. And I think it's even fun just for conversational pieces. But to think that is how you get to know folks, and that again, going back to the what you bring to the table stuff, that's not how you get to know people. You figure out what they bring to the table by experiencing them. Dang, I noticed that when I am with you, I am drained energetically. It feels like you take from the table. I don't know
Mhm.
if you bring anything. I feel like you're just taking things from the table. Or the
Right.
exact opposite. You know what he brings to the table? I am so much happier since he's in
Mhm.
my life. I really am just I be waking up excited now.
Yeah. And like you said, experiencing things with that person, like, oh, we went to go do this thing and maybe it didn't go exactly as planned. How did they handle it? How did they talk to the wait staff? How did they I mean, there's so many different things that you can watch and observe. But to your point of people tailoring their responses, I have a homeboy that always says like a girl's social media is a roadmap to her pussy. It's literally
That's why I am private with 3 pictures. And only one of them is of me.
right, because a lot of people, a lot of women, I mean, you know, they put everything, you put your likes, your
Yeah.
dislikes, all your shit on there. If somebody really wants to go on there and study it, they can, and then they can come and they can lie and they can play these games. Of course, that's not what a good person does. But there are people who will do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's also why, like, just having the same answers to questions does not equal compatibility.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. And also, you'll be surprised. For some people, you're like, I want someone just like me, blah, blah, blah. And what you actually need is different. You need someone that breaks you out yourself. You need someone that balances you. Two of you just means y'all both gonna be broke and confused. You need someone good with money because you're not. You need someone that's gonna be like, hey, we have to eventually save. You already have 4 ice cream makers. Go out and experience folks. You might find out like, okay, this is what I've been missing.
And that's also not to say that you can't take interest in things that someone you like is interested in. Like it's
Or
total like if you're, dating someone or wanting to get to know someone and they're like, "Oh, I love this particular author," and you actually want to take the time to explore that, that's great. But like be honest, don't be like cuz and I guess going back to like kind of like we were talking about earlier with like pop culture teaching things, there are so many movies and TV shows where there's like a boy, there's always at least one episode that like knows nothing about this thing, and but because this girl said she liked it, he lied to her, and then he tried to read the book later and realized it was boring to him, and he gets caught. They always get caught up. The girl always finds out that you really don't like Jane Austen or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking even to a more extreme level. This is kind of unrelated, but kind of related. One thing my dad used to always tell me, he was like, for a lot of men, we would live in a shack with a big screen TV and a recliner if we could. We get nice things because women like nice things.
That's true. That's very true.
Like, you'll be surprised how many things is motivated just because the opposite sex. But you think about it, there's a lot of stuff we get because it's the opposite sex, I say. And if I display that I have it, then maybe I get more options for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That comes with its own flaws because then you get mad. Wow, I'm attracting all these gold diggers because you keep displaying gold.
You gotta go now. They can see it. They know it's there. But I guess to sum to sum up the question of like, is it dead? Um, no. I don't think that even if it was, I don't think it's been killed by any like specific gender. Um, but I think for certain individuals it can die out for you,
Right.
especially if you are faking it and then you just have become cynical.
Yeah.
It's not dead. It works for some. It works for those who are like who truly like embody and really do. Again, we've used the word intentional a million times. So yeah, for those who are like actually being intentional and who actually believe in the things that they're doing, it's alive and well.
And to echo something I feel like I've been hearing said on social media a lot over the last year, also date people who like you. You won't feel like chivalry is dead if you date people who like you.
That's real.
I have found when I've dated men who like me, they're very chivalrous.
They're great.
Right. And it's sometimes great experiences, sometimes still sure not that great. But it's still, but yeah, usually because also I think sometimes when you're having that conversation and then you do the deep dive, like, well, what you got happening? What you have happening? Kind of like you said that everything we broke down of like, nah, because they just want you to come to the crib. Don't want to take you out. Don't want nobody see you with them. Don't want to answer their phone, barely text you. It sounds like they don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. I think sometimes we hear that and we take that as a L to our ego. So we can't take that. Nah, it ain't that because I look at me and I got this and I got that and blah, blah, blah. And it's not a L to your ego. You can be the best person in the world. If you're not that person's type, you're not what that person's looking for. It does not matter. Somebody out there was like, I'm cool on Beyonce. Believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
there's somebody out there that was in the same room with her, thought they had a chance, and was still was like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Beyonce is beautiful. I will leave my imaginary husband for Beyonce. So so it does not matter but you have to don't take it as an ego thing. But if someone is not showing up in the ways and it feels like chivalry is not working on that person, maybe consider that person does not like you, and that's not a personal issue. That just means that's not your person, and that's cool, and you can move on from that, and you do not have to terrorize everyone on the internet because that they did not accept your flowers or you opening doors or whatever it was.
Right. Now all of this particular person, now all of this gender is bad. And as I also love to remind people like you're looking for one person.
Mhm.
So you don't need to be worried about this wide net and like what you feel like all these particular people are doing or not doing or whatever. You're looking for one person. Just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I'm laughing because my friend recently said that to me. He was like, because of one Aquarius male, all of them are horror. I was like, first of all, it's three of y'all. It was three.
This is a pattern
There's
based on my
repeated
experience.
patterns with all three.
Mhm.
Hmm. So I think that's the question. If chivalry said, no, it's not dead. It is out there, and you just have to find someone that likes you to give it to you for you to accept it, to accept the chivalrous things that you are doing,
Mhm.
and to give you the chivalrous things that you would like.
Mhm.
It's not dead. It's hiding. The end.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we gotta stop recording when we're tired. All right.
Mhm.
So that is all we have for today's episode. Be sure to follow us on TikTok at SheWolf Alchemy Podcast, Instagram at SheWolf Alchemy. Be sure to like, review, leave us a review with some words wherever you are listening. Be sure to share with friends, families, or whoever the internet. You don't know. I don't know your business. We will have a new episode for you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.